Hi, welcome to Flex Studio. Today we are going to learn how to adhere linen to a board. So for this example, I have some gator foam board. This is 1/4 inch gator foam. It's a relatively small size, 11 by 14 inches. That's one thing that you need. The other thing is this stuff, which is called Versamount. Versamount can be purchased at a couple of framing things. Versamount melting temperature is about 150 degrees, and I usually double it up, especially with this heavy-duty linen that I'm using, because it has a hard time getting in the weaves of the linen when it's only one sheet as opposed to two. So it's more worth your time to use two. You get a better adhering property to it, adheres to the gator foam and to the linen a lot better. So Versamount. Or there's another type of adhesive that you could use. I think it's called Beva 51. Versamount's a little bit less expensive. It is pH balanced to a 7, I believe, both the Versamount and the Beva. And then this is linen. So this linen is herringbone twill weave linen. Do you see that? Isn't that beautiful? Man. Okay, so how do you know if you're using a good linen? First off, you have to make sure that there are no holes, gaping holes in the back between the weaves of the linen. If there is, then don't buy it. It's really cheap, inexpensive linen. It's not going to hold up very well, especially if you rabbit skin glue it, because the linen is supposed to be the substrate, not the rabbit skin glue. The rabbit skin glue is to protect the linen. So with this linen, as you've seen in my other videos, I rabbit skin glued it a couple of times so that the oil primer doesn't get through the linen. So if you look on the back here, there is no oil primer going through the back. If you do have a linen that has oil primer going through the back, then either your linen has too many holes or you didn't rabbit skin glue it enough to be able to protect the linen. And if the oil primer does get through there, then it actually can deteriorate the linen, and that's not very good because these things are supposed to last a long time. So the problem with doing a press with what I am doing is the heat, but this is heat activated Versamount at 150 degrees, but because this stuff is so thick, I have to actually have it up to 180 degrees. So you basically take your rabbit or your gator foam board, you put your Versamount on it, make sure that it goes off the edges, and the same thing with your pre-primed cut linen. So I can just take this and put it on top of it. There you have that guy. Now, if you're real particular about getting your straight lines and all that fun stuff, I usually am. I will find out where the grain is, follow a line and line it up against the edge of the gator foam. So when I cut it, it's nice and straight with the weave. All right, now I'm going to show you what press I use. It is right here. It is called the Seal Commercial 210M. So the 210M is relatively small, smaller than a lot of the other ones that they have out there, but it gets the job done. The 160 I think is about half the size of the 210, but the 210 gets the majority of my needs, and you can press multiple times to get what you need. With the thickness of this linen and the Versamount, I have found that a 2-minute time at 180 degrees actually melts the Versamount enough to adhere the linen to it. So I'm going to show you really quick how to do that. Okay, so we take the gator foam, the Versamount doubled up, and the linen. Make sure that the grain is right where I want it. It's really easy to see the grain in this twill weave. Make sure it covers all the corners. Take it, you're going to have one protective sheet for the top so that the glue doesn't stick to the heating element, and then one other wax paper on the bottom part so it protects the cushion for the press. So you just take it, put it in the center, make sure that it didn't move, make sure that you're protected. Take this guy, make sure your temperature's good, put it down, press it, set the timer. I usually again set it for about 2 minutes. When it's done with 2 minutes, I'll show you what we do next. This is a steel plate that my brother made for me because he does a little bit of welding, and I just made it a little bit bigger than the size of the press. You need some good weight on it because when you pull it out of the press it's going to be nice and hot, so you need to keep putting pressure on it. Take it out, make sure that your surface is flat that you're setting it on. Take your steel plate that is flat and set it down on there. By the time I have the next one ready to go out of the press, I'll put it down there. After it is cooled down, take it off. Can look at it here and tell if it is pressed well enough. See, I'm taking this corner, trying to lift it off. It's not lifting off too well. You don't want to try to pull it off because it is pretty light. I do know that the Bev is a little bit stronger of an adhesive, so it stays on a little bit, well, a lot stronger. Okay, so here we have our linen that has now been pressed on there. It has cooled down under the metal, and we have a pretty good solid adherence to the gator foam. So we just take it, place it down here, and cut the edges off. Face down, of course. The gator foam provides a nice straight edge. Alright, and there you have it. Linen, nice and cut on there. On the edges, nice, corners, all that fun stuff, and it's ready to go. Now, one thing is, do you see the yellowing that has occurred here compared to the white that is there? That's an okay thing. This is a lead primer, so sometimes it will go yellow if it's been sitting too long inside. So what you can do is just take this, put it outside into the sun, let it sit there for about 10 or 15 minutes, and it'll bleach it back out. Alright, and that is how you get your panels done.